Well, part of an Anderson County home was leveled today in a possible gas explosion. The sheriff's office says the homeowner was inside at the time. This all playing out on Hidden Hill Drive in Clinton. Crews are now investigating the cause.
10 News reporter Shannon Smith joins us live from the scene. And Shannon, what are you learning now?
Well, I'm learning some good news is that the homeowner is okay. A neighbor and a friend tells us he'll be staying at the hospital overnight, but he's in high spirits. Everyone was okay after what's really a freak possible gas explosion. Let me get out of the way so you can see what happened today. What we're being told by the Anderson County Sheriff's Office is that the homeowner was lighting some kind of gas insert in what they believe was the family room, and before anybody knew it was happening, the windows blew out. The garage just, obviously you can see, is completely gone. And Powell Clinch Utilities District was out here within about 5 minutes of a neighbor calling 911 to assess the damage. The Marlow Volunteer Fire Department was out here responding and making sure everyone was okay. And we're also told that Powell Clinch Utilities went around and checked everybody else's gas tank to make sure everything was okay. We're not exactly sure what happened, what caused it. Right now, it just seems to be an isolated incident. But neighbors are telling us that this really shook the whole block of this We're just outside the Clinton city limits inside of Anderson County, and it really scared a lot of people. But luckily, we know that the people involved are okay. Their little dog is okay, and we're going to be continuing to get those status updates as the day goes on and try to figure out if we can learn what exactly caused this. But for now, everyone else on the block is fine. The people that were in this house are doing fine. One man at the hospital still, and we'll continue to keep you guys updated as we learn more information. But for now, I'm live in Anderson County. We'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
That destruction is something else, though. All right. Thank you very much, Shannon.